2010, GPD had 214 family violence cases and 190 sexual assault cases. Over a period of 5 years between 2005 and 2010, there have been more than 2,600 cases of family violence on Guam. Most of the time, victims of family violence don't report to authorities. Fear is one of them. Many victims are too afraid that if they report the abuse, the batterer will further harm them or their family. Another reason is that reporting domestic violence can be demoralizing. Victims are ashamed and often too embarrassed to report to law enforcement.
My name is Lisa Baza, and I am a senior individual marriage and family therapist with client services and family counseling with the Superior Court of Guam. Client services is a counseling division under the auspices of the Superior Court of Guam. It was created, I believe, in the late 70s, and it was formerly known as a diagnostic and treatment unit. Since when Judge Lamarena became our presiding judge, he changed it to Client Services and Family Counseling. Primarily, what we do is we provide counseling services to court-referred clients. Group services that we have the men's group. It's called the Family Violence Men's Group, and it's based on a Duluth model of men who commit family violence. It's a battering program, actually. We have a women's group. It's called the Thrive Group, and it's for women who commit acts of family violence, as well as for women who are victims of or survivors of family violence. We have it's called the Sex Offenders Group, and it's for individuals with various levels of sex offenses. Telephone number is 475-3101. Now, in terms of community stuff, it's the services is limited to mostly individuals who are ordered. Actually, they're usually required to come here. The exception being women who've experienced domestic violence in their lives. They could come in and make an appointment and undergo an intake to see if they would qualify for those types of services.
Erica's House is a support service for parents and children in need of visitation and exchange services. The services they provide is having a safe place to pick up and drop off children for exchanging between parents or guardians. They also provide visitation for families, which is for no more than 2 hours and is constantly being checked by staff. Parenting classes are also offered.
My name is Paula Perez, and I am the Program Manager for Catholic Social Service, Ali Shelter. There are 3 components to the Ali Shelters. First off, we have Catherine's Home, which is a protective shelter for women who are victims of domestic violence or sexual assault. They can come with or without children. We have our Transitional Housing Program, which is a program funded through VAW, and what it is we will put women who come out of Catherine's Home into an apartment, and we will pay rent and utilities up to 2 years while they work towards independent living. And then we have Alley 2, the Children's Shelter, where we can house up to 12 children, and those children are all brought to us by CPS. With Catherine's Home, the social worker and the shelter workers will assist the women in accessing any services that they need, be it legal, housing, public benefits, whatever it is that they need to in order to function outside of the environment that they came from. So they'll assist them with Guam Legal Services, Public Defender, Public Health to do public benefits, GORA for housing, and with Transitional Housing Program, the social worker does full-on case management, so she will assist the women in every aspect. Okay, with Alley 2, our basic role really is just to provide shelter for the children, but since we have them a majority of the time, we've had the social workers start working with them to put together service plans. So We really take care of a lot of the medical issues, educational issues. I attend all the IEPs for the children that we have there, and we actually have 3 who are in the SPED program. So I do all of the IEP meetings for them. If anybody needs services, our main office, Catherine's Home, number is 648-5888, and the hotline is 648-4673.
Adult Protective Services is an agency that provides services to the elderly in ages of 60 or older, along with persons with disabilities. They provide services to people who are 18 or older against abuse, neglect, and/or exploitation. They are a 100% federal funded program that provides resources for training of staff, outreach, and education activities. Anyone who meets these criteria or wanted to inquire information can call at 475-0262 or 475-0268.
My name is Pamela Brewster, and I'm a social worker in the investigation unit of CPS. CPS, Child Protective Services, we're a government agency under the Department of Public Health and Social Services. We're tasked with the responsibility of ensuring the safety and protection of children. First of all, our agency receives referrals, information on suspected child abuse and neglect. And depending on the information, if we feel through the intake process that CPS intervention is warranted, then we will go out and send either a crisis worker if it's an immediate response. If immediate response is required, we'll send a crisis worker out. Or referrals can be sent to the investigation unit where the investigation unit is tasked to investigate allegations of child abuse and or neglect. And so if we find through interviews or through our risk or safety assessments that there is or there was abuse that occurred or neglect that occurred, basically what we would do then is, because part of our mission too is strengthening families and strengthening parents and ensuring that future abuse doesn't occur. And so what we would normally do is, if there was abuse and neglect, we would most often engage parents in a service plan agreement, and in that service plan agreement lists a lot of the responsibilities or the things that we ask of parents to do. And most always we ask that the parents engage in parenting classes, and so a lot of the times we refer the parents to Sanctuary, where they offer parenting classes, or Erica's House, where they offer parenting classes usually for the younger kids. And depending on what the abuse or the allegations are, if there's maybe issues with drugs, and we would refer them to like New Beginnings or maybe Oasis for an assessment. Our agency receives referrals Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. So anytime during that time, you can call our office at 475-2653 and let the person answering know that you're wanting to make a referral, and they would send you to the intake unit, and the social worker in that unit would take all the information.
Healing Hearts provides services to all sexual assault victims. They provide the services of support, nurturing atmosphere, medical assistance, crisis counseling, and referral to begin the healing process towards the victim. Healing Hearts use a rape kit to reveal any evidence on an individual who was just raped. They can be contacted through phone by calling 911 or by 647-2444 with the extension of 2330 or 2552. Victim Advocates Reaching Out, also known as VERO, provides free, confidential, and voluntary services to any victim of family violence, sexual abuse, physical abuse, and other traumatic events. They provide emotional support, physical or material assistance, transportation, shelter, emergency financial assistance, advocacy, and referrals to other service agencies. It is a private, non-profit organization that have volunteers on call 24 hours a day. They can be contacted by their hotline through phone by calling 647-8833.